Welcome to Herby and Legends with your hosts, Smartwatch, Neil and Chris, and Bluetooth speaker.
Hello and welcome to episode 1, series 4 of Herby and Legends. Welcome back. And as you can see, Neil and I have moved from the Wild Wild West into the future. We're dancing along that timeline. I am, as always, highly augmented sex worker, Chris Flynn. And with me is my co-host, heavily chipped cyber doctor, Mr.
Neil Herbert.
Hi, Neil. How's the future treating you?
Oh, it's pretty cyber.
Is
Good
it?
word, isn't it? You just put cyber in front of anything.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. I'm eating my cyber chips with futuristic Tabasco.
Yeah, you're having your cyber Coke.
Yep, cyber Coke. It's cyber Worcestershire sauce flavoured.
Cyber sauce
I'm
flavour.
sorry, I was just cyber enunciating.
I thought that in the cyber future, the only thing which you could eat was Chinese food. That's what I understood.
Well, no, turns out. That's so often our predictions of the future. Anyone who's enjoyed Tomorrow's World back in the 80s, quite often these predictions of the future come back to bite us. No, it's mostly pot noodles.
Well, that's a kind of Chinese food. It's a kind of futuristic Chinese food, isn't it? The pot noodle.
Ultra industrialized. They've just,
for our American friends, you probably don't get basically what pot noodle is
what you call ramen noodles, I would guess.
It's a ramen noodles in a pot, but it's made by some British company and it's like eating elastic bands.
Oh, many a drunken night I've enjoyed a pot noodle. It's basically, if you can't afford a kebab on the way home, you go down the petrol station at 3:00 in the morning and pick up a pot noodle instead.
Lovely. And so, what kind of
beef type flavour?
Beef style flavour, beef style noodle style. So, what kind of cyber doctoring have you been doing digitally recently?
Disturbing though, there's been a lot of people who want to have invisibility implants.
Really?
with their night vision enhancements. So I'm not sure what that's all about.
Oh dear.
I don't like the sound of it, but it's not the cyber doctor's place to judge, is it?
Absolutely not. That's the Hippocratic
Oath,
Oath, isn't it?
Pull up the schlaps. I believe that's what we call them in our...
Yeah, for some credits.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I was gonna do a bit of a Clockwork Orange language there as well, but I thought,
You sorted my my augmentations for my sex work as well, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, working out well.
Your multi-organ thing that you've got down there.
My multi-tool.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is, like, most of the work is just, I just plug a USB in the back of someone's head and then they do all the sex stuff in their head. So it's actually quite an easy job, to be honest. The cyber johns.
Yeah.
That's all they're after, really.
Well, that and a little cuddle.
Yeah, a little cuddle at the end, a little
bit
cry.
of affection,
Yeah.
Talk about what ails them.
Silicon tears.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I believe a bit of Vaseline that gives them squeeze at the same time.
Do you remember, like back in 25 years ago? Do you remember
before the
Cyber Wars?
Yeah, before the Cyber Wars. Yeah.
Do you remember
before McDonald's and Budweiser created World War III?
Do you remember there was a World Cup starting?
Yeah, well, that was what caused it, wasn't it?
That was what
Budweiser weren't able to sell their delicious £12 a pint beers, but McDonald's could still have their filthy burgers.
That was it. Budweiser sent in the Budweiser fleet
cyber fan zone
into Qatar, didn't they?
It was very ahead of its time, that World Cup. It was,
Yeah, they bombed it. They bombed it with the backing of with Joe Biden backing them, I believe.
Yeah,
because he loves a Budweiser.
Oh.
Do you love it? Did you, when they used to exist? Did you like Budweisers?
It wasn't my favourite bit. I mean, if we're talking about the original Czech one, that was quite nice, was it?
No, we're not. We're talking about
the rice broods. It's abomination. Let's be honest.
It's not.
I like a lot of American beers, but Budweiser is, I don't know. It's tasteless.
It is quite tasteless, isn't it?
Yes.
But then that's because you used to, when the country still existed, because obviously now it's just part of Mega City 1, you used to like the Belgian beers, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So it's, a
It's
lot
a
of
shame.
flavours.
It's a shame.
And I'm somebody who thinks pot noodles taste nice. So, it's not like I'm particularly highfalutin. My palate is not terribly refined.
It was a shame when all of Europe got absorbed into Moscow, wasn't it?
Well, it's inevitability, I think,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
didn't matter, Wasn't any worse, was it? Wasn't any better.
Putin land, as they call it now.
Putin City 1.
Yeah.
Cool.
North, as they call it. Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone's enjoys our new theme tune. It's pretty dubsteppy, so that's the most futuristic music that I know.
We're here in the future, so we should,
that's what we listen to. That's like classical music to us.
Exactly.
So, future Neil, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to go.
Is it going to be a big one?
It is a big one. It's one I've heard of, which
Whoa.
strange. So it's going to be a big one, and do you know what? It's a little bit cyberpunk itself.
Really?
Well, just imagine, Chris. Just imagine.
I'm trying.
You could make a ship disappear and reappear somewhere else using the power of physics.
The power of physics,
Yep.
The most powerful of all the sciences.
Oh, indeed. So you talked today about gone.
No, I was just going to say I can't imagine that.
Can't imagine that. No. Well, imagine no longer, or don't imagine no longer, as you prefer, because we have to talk about. Let's talk about the Philadelphia experiment today.
Oh, I think I've heard of that one as well.
Well, I think you probably have. Yeah. So
it's doing like teleportation or some shit.
Yeah, I kind of I've heard of it and I need the sort of rough outlines. I think I got most of my facts from the video game Red Alert 2.
Oh, okay.
I believe Nicola Tesla invented some sort of electrical thing that made ships disappear so that they could invade the Russians, as played by Tim Curry and some cohorts, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a good resource.
Yeah. Well, here's an even better resource because we're going to go on Discovery UK for my facts. Filed under mysteries, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
What is the true story of the Philadelphia experiment?
I don't know, but I hope you're going to tell me.
Well, if anyone could tell you, it'd be the Discovery Channel, wouldn't it? Or Discovery UK. I assume they're affiliated. I don't know. So this is quite a fresh one, actually, Chris. 20th of May, 2022.
Oh, okay.
All of the top, all of the up-to-date info, any new stuff that's come to light. It'll be here.
Have they had their top people on it?
Oh, I would imagine so. Oh, there's no byline, so I don't know who wrote this, so apologies to whoever, but they don't put your byline on.
That's suspicious. Do you reckon it was written by an AI?
Well, I mean, I would hope so, but it's
very cyber.
Yeah. Okay. Invisible ships, aliens, top secret missions, a government conspiracy, and Albert Einstein. The Philadelphia experiment had it all.
That's ticking all of our podcasts' MO boxes, isn't it?
I mean, I could do with a ragtime band in there as well, if I'm being honest. Fair enough. It had most of it, let's put it like that. But was the story of the USS Eldridge a hoax or science fiction brought to life?
Dun, dun, dun.
Science fiction brought to life is kind of more fact, isn't it? Anyway, whatever.
It's just science.
It's just science, yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so the Philadelphia experiment, sometimes known as the USS Eldridge conspiracy, I mean, by who, but anyway, whatever, has all the trappings of a sci-fi blockbuster. Indeed, it became the subject of one starring Michael Paré in 1984.
Ooh.
So apparently there was like a not terribly good film made in the mid-80s called The Philadelphia Experiment, as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's to be believed, this top secret test of alien invisibility technology was carried out at the height of the Second World War under the direction of Albert Einstein himself, ending in both success and catastrophe.
Oh, well, which one? Well, I suppose
You'd think that those are mutually exclusive parameters, but apparently not.
Well, it's like if you're doing testing or something, it could have got 50% Could have got the main bits right, so the system stands up. But
well, at the sprint retrospective, now obviously half of the team won't be here. Now, according to you, I was good. You did kill half the team. Do we want to unpack why that maybe wouldn't have been optimal going forward?
The UI works. Yeah, it does. Okay, well, there we go.
Well, that was my job.
Yeah.
If the test team was wiped out by it, I don't see why that's my problem.
Yeah, it works now, though, yeah? Right, fine.
Do I see a requirement about everyone coming out alive? Because you can show me that requirement. Right, so if it's deemed a hoax, it is one whose ramifications have been long-term and widespread. So which is it? And then there's a picture of a stamp with Albert Einstein on it.
Oh, really?
That's nice, isn't it?
That's nice for him. Is he the queen of somewhere? Or the king?
Well, yeah, the king of our hearts.
King of all our hearts.
And science, yeah.
King of all our scientific hearts.
Indeed.
Our cyber hearts.
The king of misattributed quotes and bullshit theories that he was supposedly involved in, but wasn't at all. Not that I want to say that that's anything to do with today's story, but just, to acknowledge that quite often it's one of those, it's a bit like Shakespeare. People misattribute a lot of quotes and put them under Einstein. Because it makes it sound, more credible. He was a very smart gentleman. So.
If you say so.
You're not convinced about that?
No, he was...
he never made much money, did he?
No, and he was weak on quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Okay. That's your stance. All right, Musk.
Someone clever told me to say that.
So the Philadelphia conspiracy was an alleged top-secret government project codenamed Operation Rainbow, carried out under the auspices of Albert Einstein in accordance with his unified field theory. I mean, he did a lot of secret government work, didn't he, Einstein? Well,
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. I mean,
he quashed that car which could run on water.
Yes, yeah.
He stopped that happening. He developed and then hid Nikola Tesla's death ray. I believe that's all true.
Yeah. Decided it was too dangerous for man to
invented the fax machine.
Yes. Yeah. And the Walkman.
That was his greatest invention.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, well, supposedly it's testing alien invisibility technology. I'm not sure where that sort of comes out from, but anyway. So 1943, so you're in the middle of the World War II, and the US is taking advantage.
The World War II.
The World War II, yeah.
Right, okay.
In the midst of World War II, the US is taking advantage to help them win the Battle of the Atlantic. So one day that year, often cited as the 28th of 1943, the new tech was supposedly, I don't know why I'm like
the 28th of what month?
28th of October,
okay, thank you. Just for my notes.
Yeah. You come back and just sort of like, in case you need to interrogate.
That's exactly it.
Cross-examination at the end.
Of course.
Yeah.
Permission to treat Neil as hostile.
I'll allow it, apparently, because I'm judge. Not really bothered because I'm going to be handing out the judgment in this case. The new tech was supposedly fitted into the USS Eldridge, which was docked at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. It said those on nearby ships witnessed the generators on the Eldridge begin to hum. A green-blue hue, some said a fog or a glow, emanated from the destroyer's hull, and in an instant, the ship simply vanished.
Oof.
That's creepy, isn't it?
That is, yeah. That's and so there were witnesses, apparently.
Yeah. And it said the ship reappeared again just as suddenly, but only after it was spotted materialising out of thin air over 200 miles away at Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Virginia, before then vanishing a second time.
Well, so it kind of blinked to one and came back.
Well, it doesn't say where it went after vanishing the second time, so we'll look for that. So if true, surely the Philadelphia experiment had been a resounding success. Not only did it render an entire Cannon-class destroyer escort ship invisible, but it teleported it 200 miles away and back again. Oh, okay, this is back again. However, there was more to the story than simply this astonishing tale.
Well, so I don't think it did render it invisible. It just teleported it.
Well, there you go. We don't know, do we?
Well, but from what you've said, it just sounds like it teleported it to Norfolk. And then
we don't know if it vanished or then teleported and then came back. So it was set. So you think by this point, well, okay, that sounds like a resounding success.
It sounds pretty good to me.
You know, have they still got this technology?
Take that, Jerry.
How often are they using it? Is that what we used to defeat the Hun?
We don't know.
They covered it up with a load of guff about Enigma machines. And they made a movie with Bon Jovi to throw people off the set. No, it was all about our invisibility Tesla shit that Albert Einstein did.
Our alien Tesla ships.
Yeah, with alien technology from Area 51, presumably. Or was that after the Second World War?
Oh, Roswell, wouldn't it?
Yeah, was Roswell in the 30s or was it after the war?
It was in the 30s or 40s, Roswell, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember.
They would have captured a Foo Fighter.
Yes. Yeah.
I say it's a Foo Fighter.
It's becoming invisible. I say it. But you got some of those ballet toffs who put together the bouncing barrel. Use some of this invisibility stuff. Make ship disappear. And won't know where to fire at it. I'll soon send them packing back to Berlin.
This could be just the thing we need.
Yeah, that clever chappy, Albert Einstein, is it? No, let him have a look at it. Seemed like a first-class SWAT. What the hell? I don't know why it's now apparently like British involved with this, but fair enough.
There probably would have been some kind of old-school British general kicking about.
Okay, so it's said that classified military documents revealed far darker implications because when the USS Eldridge rematerialized in Philadelphia, members of its crew suffered injuries ranging from minor to catastrophic.
Oh, no, I don't like the sound of that.
Nausea, disorientation.
That is catastrophic.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Third-degree burns. I mean, I'd have gone with third-degree burns before the insanity. There you go. And mysterious illnesses were all cited. The most alarming effects regarded crew being found fused to parts of the ship, some of them still alive.
What? So they were, like, stuck to it?
Yeah, so apparently what's happened, they've phased in and out of reality.
Yeah.
And then some crew members have just gotten fused into, like, the bulkheads and stuff.
What, so they're, like, stuck in the walls?
Yeah. Half man, half
or whatever. Ship.
Yeah.
I am now half man, half ship.
I'd go with nausea personally. That's all right. I mean, third-degree burns if I have to, but I mean, presumably fusing with a ship would turn you insane if it didn't outright kill you.
I don't know. It depends what your life non-fused to a ship's like. Do you know what I mean? It could actually be a bit of a
blessed relief.
It could be good.
I tell you what, being a bulkhead, it ain't the most barrel of laughs, but you know, it takes off some of the responsibility.
Yeah, it's not too bad to be honest. Get free square meals.
Be sturdy and keep the ship up. So
Yeah, kind of in a very kind of Buddhist way, you kind of feel at one with the ship, wouldn't you?
No, I'd probably die screaming. Probably more likely. But
I mean, that's kind of the way.
That'd be an incredibly zen way to take it. Well, fair enough.
But that's kind of the way. That's kind of the way it would.
1 minute you're a happy-go-lucky sailor. 1 minute
you're skipping.
1 minute you're fused with the radar. Sounds part of the rich tapestry of life.
Yeah, it's all part of the universe, isn't it? Yeah. But isn't that kind of in sci-fi and stuff? You have kind of like living ships, don't you? Like Farscape and that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think this is like like Farscape.
You don't think?
I don't think that they were actually like it became like a living ship or something.
You don't think that the ship became sentient?
No, I don't think they're saying
and all their consciousness,
the soul of all their sailors or something.
All their consciousnesses kind of came together in a high-style mind, and then the ship became sentient. You don't think that's what happened?
And then it took off to space.
Yeah, and
it went to explore other planets.
And it was like Herby.
Yeah. Oh, do you think that's what happened to Herby? It's like actually a really tragic accident. The mechanic who just fused with this.
The engine of a.
When he keeps beeping and stuff, he's just screaming in pain.
Kill me. Beep, beep, beep.
Shenanigans and antics.
That's why he's constantly doing all the dangerous driving.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to end it all.
Unfortunately, he's been taken over by a little kid and some alcoholic. Can't see the signs.
Oh, I like to think that the ship became sentient and Herbied into space, but
I mean, I'm figuring it's more of a kind of.
But we'll see where the story takes us.
Let's see where it goes. Yeah,
that's my prediction, and I'm good at those.
Yeah, yeah. You're thinking wacky shenanigans are going to ensue. So.
I'm thinking Zen-like wacky shenanigans. Yeah.
Yeah. All the admirals come to visit. The ship's alive. It's going to start being inappropriate. What?
Ship.
So, according to the story, there were many witnesses to the Philadelphia experiment. People who saw the ship's disappearance and reappearance. But yet, only one witness came forward, and it wasn't until the 1950s that details began to emerge. Because they're probably going to keep it silent, aren't they? Because they've tried this, but there's obviously, if you just had a load of people die in it, then you've probably written that off as a.
Yeah, you can only have one sentient ship, really, because they're difficult to control. They're like wild steeds.
Well, just because, started reading a lot of Ginsberg poetry and stuff and became a hipster sort of beatnik. In fact, all information about, I think I might be mixing my ears up slightly. In fact, all information about the Philadelphia conspiracy derives from a single source. That's a name by the name of Carl Meredith Allen.
Meredith?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is that...
Well, it was back in the day when, people would get, it's a bit like, what's his face, John Wayne's. His real name is Marion something or another.
Yeah.
But he wanted to sound more butch, so...
Well, he certainly was butch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Butchest man you'll ever meet.
Goddamn right.
Commie.
Single-handedly defeat communism. Don't you ever forget it, Chris. I'm going to thank.
Yeah, he certainly didn't use his studio contacts to get out of fighting in the war.
This is true. To be fair, he was more valuable. No, he didn't get out of the film. I think if I remember right, he served with the I don't know what they were called, the entertainment division,
which stayed in Hollywood. Yeah.
So, 1956, Carl Allen began writing what would be hundreds of letters to Morris K. Jessup, the author of a book called The Case for the UFO, from 1955.
Okay.
He went by the name Carlos Allende.
Carlos Allende.
He tried to convince Jessup to stop the research he was conducting on Albert Einstein's incomplete unified field theory. As part of this, he informed Jessup of the USS Eldridge conspiracy, claiming to have witnessed a test himself while working on a ship called the SS Andrew Forsyth as a deckhand.
That reminds me of...
I pronounce it Forsyth. I don't know how you pronounce it. Andrew Forsyth.
That reminds me of one of the funnier jokes on The Simpsons that I remember, which is when Bart goes to Australia and they have to airlift the whole lot out because he refuses to get kicked in the arse. And they're going, right, we're taking you to the ship now. And Homer's like, oh, is it an aircraft carrier? And he goes, no, it's the HSS Walter Mondale. She's a laundry ship. Love the idea of there just being laundry ships.
So when Jessup attempted to get more information from Allen, he was unable to provide any evidence for his claims. Mm. So around the same time, the US Office of Naval Research received an anonymous package labelled Happy Easter. Inside was a copy of Jessup's book, heavily annotated by what appeared to be 3 different contributors.
Wow.
Each in different shades of blue, are referring to each other as gypsies.
What?
Okay. Doesn't give any... So I like about these kind of articles. They say these really, really weird facts and don't give any enlightening
information.
Right,
and this is what I think about this one. Unlike this gypsy, different colour pen. Well, that gypsy's wrong because of the... It's like, what?
Yeah, that is what it is, I guess. The notes within related to UFOs purporting to have knowledge of extraterrestrial life on Earth and suggesting that Jessup's research on unified field theory was too close to some alien technology. There are also several allusions to the Philadelphia experiment.
You know, UFOs, you know, like some, because there's a whole, like, there's UFOs kind of thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
They've changed their name now to
is it or something?
Yeah, aerial phenomenon. Not air people, I think, isn't it? Unidentified air people.
Yeah, it's unusual air persons.
But there are some people who think that we're in contact with, like, aliens. I think, like, Dan Aykroyd, the UFO expert.
the reliably sane perpetrator.
He thinks that, like, there's, like, 6 different races of aliens that we're in contact with. Like, there's, like...
Yeah. Makes sense. It's more the merrier. It's right. Make it 7 or 8.
It's all of them. Right? Yeah. It's basically an intergalactic council that we're currently in contact with.
Oh, God, it'd be like that awful Star Wars thing, wouldn't it? Just flying around on those fucking things.
I don't know that one.
It was one of the terrible prequel things.
Oh, okay.
There's just a load of, like, fucking CGI aliens just riding up and down on scooters while Chewbacca growls or whatever. The evil guy just, like, really pretentiously is like, oh, thank you for handing me all of the power of the military of the universe. I promise you I will use it. It starts going off on a real Hitler-esque rant, and you're like, I wonder. And in fact, we know this foretells things because we already know how the story goes. Anyway, enough of that. So, in a strange twist that served only to enhance belief in the Philadelphia conspiracy, 2 agents at the ONR took it upon themselves to privately print many copies of the annotated book, which became known in certain circles as the Varro version.
What, they just photocopied it?
Yeah, I don't know, or they just... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what your version of kind of like scanning and printing is in those days.
Carbon paper.
Yeah, Britain just had one of those.
Yeah,
like you used to have for checks and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's all that goes. There's a slightly disjointed article there. So okay, so now we're
no wonder they didn't put their name in a byline.
Yeah, I was going to say. Investigating the Philadelphia conspiracy. So in 1957, ONR invited Jessup to view the annotated copy of his book. He confirmed the annotations matched the handwriting in Allen's letters. And it's since been confirmed that Allen sent the package to the ONR in 1969. He even admitted to writing all of the annotations, all 3.
Ah, okay. So he tried to make it look like there were 3 people.
There were 3 different people. It's cunning, isn't it? But unfortunately, his wild, like, hatred of gypsy people crawled into his annotations and provided a clue that this was A, not the most hinged of personalities, and B, might be the same person writing all of them. But all he wanted to do was scare the hell out of Jessup and deter him from continuing his investigation of unified field theory.
Why?
He viewed it as dangerous.
He viewed it as dangerous?
Yeah. It's like, carry on down this path, you're going to end up getting fused to a bus or something.
Fused to your lawnmower, mate.
You've seen my mother, the car. It all looks like hilarious shenanigans, but I believe you and me. It's no life.
So he kind of he hoaxed it up to try and to get him off the scent of looking at the unified field theory.
I don't know about you, Chris, but this Carlos Allende, aka Carl Allen, sounds like he's on the up and up to me. So,
yeah, I mean,
I see no reason to mistrust him.
It doesn't at all sound like actually he probably has multiple personality disorder and wrote all the notes as different people, and all the personalities hate each other and call each other gypsies.
Oh, that'd be an even better side to the story if that had happened.
Well, do we know that it didn't?
We don't know that it didn't. I mean, nobody mentions it. You think they would have done, but so who was Carlos Allende, aka Carl Allen? For a long time, that answer was as elusive as the man himself. In fact, nothing was known about him until a journalist called Robert Gurman wrote about the man in 1980. Gurman realised an old family connection with Allen, interviewed the man's family, who described him as a creative and imaginative loner.
Oh. It's always good.
But this is what they do. This is what they do. You see, though, Chris. If you want to You know, if you want to
discredit someone.
Discredit someone, yeah.
Call them a loner.
Cover up the source, yeah.
Would you say that I'm a creative loner, Neil?
If we take out the creative and imaginative parts, then yeah, fits like a glove.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Replace it with sad and whiny.
Well, you know.
Hey, look, we've all got our own personalities.
Yeah, you know, we're all God's beautiful creatures. Some more irritating than others. You know? He loves us all equally. Well, you know,
not really.
Equally.
Not equally. I mean, no one loves their kids equally.
Yeah. So apparently, he also had a history of mental illness, which he speculated might have been behind any fabrications that may or may not have occurred.
Maybe.
So, it's captured the imagination of the ufologist community for many years.
Everything does.
Yes, they don't tend to have a terribly high bar for needing evidence, do they? That sounds plausible. So they were so overwhelmed by the constant inquiries about it that in 1996 they released an official statement completely denying the event, stating, "We have never conducted any investigations on invisibility, either in 43 or any other time." They were established in 46. In view of present scientific knowledge, we do not believe that such an experiment could be possible except in the realm of science fiction. And the same statement provided theories as to the origin of the ideas behind the invisibility thing. Because there was some real research at the Philadelphia Navy Yard at the time into rendering ships undetectable to radar.
Yeah, painted black.
Yeah. Or this is what they call degaussing, which I think is something to do with...
it's the shape of the ship.
Electrical field to stop
stop the ping. Don't they like to make things weird to radar now? You kind of have to do your ships or planes at weird angles, don't you?
It's a particular shape because I think, well, I don't know how radar works. I'm not going to pretend to, but I think I assume it's like sound bouncing off or something like that. And then just detect it a bit like bat have sonar or something, I guess, or how their kind of natural thing works. So I assume if you make like it stealth fighters, if you've done it in such a way, then it won't ping back or something. I guess.
Yeah, that's it.
Would be my limited understanding, but I don't know if that's
lots of triangles.
Yeah. So for a long time, it was widely accepted the Philadelphia experiment was a fake, sometimes referred to as USS Eldridge hoax. However, it was revived by the emergence of another alleged secret experiment, the Montauk project.
The Montauk.
So again, it's going to be another one. I pronounced this wrong, but Montauk. Montauk project. Instead of invisibility, this time it was time travel, and in place of Einstein, Wilhelm Reich and Nikola Tesla. Doesn't explain why those two things were linked, but there you go. The gang's all here now. We've got Tesla involved as well.
Tesla died ages ago,
or did he?
Or maybe
time travel to.
I don't know. Maybe he time traveled.
Yeah, he died in New York in the 50s, I think.
Was it that late?
Yeah, he died. He sort of. Well, the end of his life, he kind of like.
Yeah, he was just
he didn't make much money. He like never made money out of his.
No, he just looked after pigeons.
Yeah, so he kind of like, and a lot of his stuff that did he couldn't sell it, and B.
Well, Edison fucked him over loads.
Edison fucked him over massively. Because he actually came out with 43 actually. 43,
okay, that's later than I thought. I thought he died in the 20s or something.
Yeah, no, he was
Oh, okay.
He was in his 80s then already, so yeah.
Well, that's when you're at your peak. You've got all the knowledge at that point, haven't you? So you can lean on all of the stuff you've learned and go, right, time travel.
Yes.
Tesla coils.
Tesla I use them to,
Yeah.
And then I'm going to start in a cutscene of a poorly rendered video game. That'd be good. Life's ambitions fulfilled.
He's in quite a lot of computer games, to be fair. He's kind of he's kind of, I don't know, people who like alternative history.
Well, he's like a pop culture. I mean, the thing is, he did loads of amazing things. Like, I mean, like when he like created like effectively a Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
like, you know, a remote control boat with electricity. And supposedly people around at the time just thought it was like witchcraft and all of this because it was just so ahead of what anyone could perceive. It was obviously quite sort of natural.
Well,
but,
he was kind of he was a genius, but he was kind of halted at most turns by Edison and slightly.
He had no gift for business. Edison was very good at publicity and
slightly his own hubris as well.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I got the impression Nikola Tesla was just kind of like very smart guy who kind of like had all these brilliant dreams to sort of like bring electricity to the masses, but you know, obviously it was kind of like nobody was interested in doing that because how to get paid.
Profit.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, great. We could give all this free electricity using these sort of like, you know, Niagara Falls to all the people, but yeah, no, maybe we won't. There you go. I'll just have a look, see if this. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, better to just burn some fossil fuel.
Yeah, it'd be fine, wouldn't it? I mean, what could happen? I mean, it's not like in 80 years' time it's going to destroy the planet or anything like that. And it all sounds a bit communist. It's giving away free electricity. Let's just see. So that's a discovery article. I'm going to see if there's some other bits and pieces because it's, you know, it's hedging its bets. Was it true? Wasn't it true? I'm going to see if we can find a little bit more about this Carlos Allende.
So if you were to fuse with any thing, what would it be?
So assume that I can do it in a way that's like nice or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not painful. It just
Power drill?
No, I think that'd get. I think it'd be good. I think it could be like airplane. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be all right.
At first I was thinking maybe musical instrument, but I wouldn't want to get tucked away in a box after playing. But no, airplane, because you can go and fly in the sky and stuff like that. That'd be good.
Yeah, it would be good.
Hour of flight.
Nice.
Yeah. Mind you, I don't know what the shelf life is on the average plane. You get about 20, 30 years out of them, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could be one of those airplanes which, like an old Spitfire, which is just in a museum.
Just restored for,
yeah. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
My head coming out of the cone.
Yeah, like a...
It'd be non-terrifying.
Like a terrible Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah. Let's be honest, Thomas the Tank Engine is kind of terrible. Yeah, that'd be a thing, wouldn't it? You just get your face like you
smashed on the front.
Quite a big mug. Let's get me used onto the front of a train. This is what Thomas the Tank Engine looked like in real life. Fucking hell, it's
just screaming.
Yeah.
You know, something out of a China Meeville novel.
Yeah. How about yourself? Flashlight. Looking disapprovingly at people about to use it.
Yeah, something like that. That's not a bad idea. No, I don't want to go down the sexual route because it's too easy. I don't know. Maybe a boat of some sort.
Yeah.
Be nice, wouldn't it? Pottering around the sea.
I'm going to call Boaty McBoatface. It was doing a lot of exploring.
Yeah, do
and
so.
then I give it a good reason. Go, look, I've done one better, the British public. We're going to rename it Boaty McBoatface, and then we're going to put a McFace on it. Yeah,
I think that'd be all right. Wouldn't it be in a boat, like round the Caribbean or around the Mediterranean or something? Quite nice. Nice vibes. You know, nice. You'd be able to sleep really easily because of the rocking of the waves.
Bow waves, yeah.
And, you know, I would imagine that the mental anguish would be under having been melded with a machine, then you'd probably need some help sleeping. So,
yes.
So the rocking of the waves would probably maybe mean that you could dream / have nightmares, but at least, you know, not go mad through lack of sleep. If you need to sleep, I don't know. I've not looked at the contract. Presumably you need to sleep.
Well, I mean, who knows? I
get to see a lot of nice stuff.
Oh, but I think these are more being fused like the what was that?
Well, like Nightrider.
Oh God, do you think that's what happened with Nightrider?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
They Philadelphia experimented up a
Camp Englishman.
Trans Am or something.
Camp Englishman into a Trans Am.
Met in a bar.
Hello, Michael.
Oh, Michael. I think you should come round to two wobbles to jail, buddy. Oh, okay.
Michael catfished him. Hi, Michael. Where are you?
Well, no, it was that Miles Knight, wasn't it?
Miles Knight.
I don't know what half of what's going on in the back of that fucking van.
Well, I want to know. I've heard he's got a private island. If you know,
the mechanics seen a lot of things going on.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's modelled on a real life character. We won't know. No one got it. Oh dear. So I'm just going to have a quick look. We'll look through the wiki then and see if we can find some more. Wiki, the source of truth.
Source of justice.
Yeah.
The source of punishment.
Okay, this is just about the film. So let's see the actual experiment. Oh, they did a Philadelphia experiment too.
Really?
How? 1993 American science fiction film sequel to the 84. Brand new cast.
Would have to be.
It's 9 years after the... He's in financial trouble.
Who is?
So he has to rejoin the Navy. I don't know whoever was in the first film.
John Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Miles Philadelphia.
Randy Philadelphia.
Oh, there's an engineer who's son of a Nazi scientist who was working on a similar project, presumably involving Tesla. And he beams a model aircraft across a room. He tries to convince them that technology is too dangerous to use.
But they won't listen, will they?
Yeah, no, they use it on an F-117 Nighthawk then, Chris. Then he finds himself in a different 93 when Nazi Germany won World War II.
Man in the High Castle did.
Yes.
That series got boring.
I never watched it. I just assumed it was, it's one of those things, it's an interesting high concept, but how long can you carry that on for? I don't know.
I got 2 series in and then was like, I can't watch anymore.
Is that Rutger Hauer in it?
No.
I'm making it up. Who was in it? Anyone know?
No.
No, fair enough. Because wasn't it based on a book by, what's his face, Philip K. Dick?
Possibly.
One of his less odd premises. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, no, I never, it looked like one of those ones, sort of, there's a load of stuff on Netflix at the time, it's kind of like, oh, that could be interesting, but I don't know, I can't even make head or tail of what happens in this film, but anyway, the Nazis won the World War, I think. Oh, and there's a 2012 film as well with Michael McDowell.
I thought there was a recent one.
Oh, that might be getting a watch. It's free on any stream. Malcolm McDowell, I'm watching. I'm up in anything, especially a good cheesy movie. Yeah, so, this is quite a famous one, and all of the evidence seems to just come from some guy who's quite clearly not that, much of a... Yeah, because all the rest of it, apparently. So there's a book published in 1978 that also creates a bit more of a thing. But again, it just seems to have been picked up by ufologists who popularised it and people who came in. Oh, there's another large-scale popularisation of the story came about in 1979 when the author Charles Berlitz, who'd written a best-selling book on the Bermuda Triangle, we'll be covering that someday in the future.
We will do.
And his co-author, ufologist William L. Moore,
right,
published the Philadelphia Experiment, Project Invisibility, which purported to be a factual account. It expanded on stories of bizarre happenings, lost unified field theories, and government cover-ups, all based on the letters from Allende Hallam. So
it's all basically, all of it is just based on this.
All goes back to this one guy.
Crackpot guy.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's where it comes from, really.
Well, that's pretty much it, yeah. And there's
the whole UFO, I don't know why the UFO people jumped on it. Is it literally because in the book he says they used alien technology to try and do this experiment. Is that the UFO part of it? Because it's not like a UFO made it disappear or anything. It's
Well, no, yeah, because it's supposedly using alien technology.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you were able to do something that breaks the laws of physics as we know them, or could, help through a breakthrough in physics, then it gives some credence to
UFOs being able to get here.
Yeah, that there's the existence of alien technology, I suppose.
But it's not like a big UFO one, is it?
No, it's not. And there's a bit more here about actual naval experiments they were doing at the time. So personnel at the 4th Naval District have suggested the alleged event was a misunderstanding of routine research during World War II at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. So they were using these degaussing experiments that could have the effect of making the ship undetectable to magnetic mines rather than radar. Right. So basically, because the Germans, they had drawn to try and, they would just, it would stop them from hitting
demagnetise the hull.
Yeah. So it's invisible to
mines.
Mines rather than to invisible
humans.
Yeah. And then you potentially also, the green thing could have been a St. Elmo's fire thing, if someone had seen something like that. But yeah, I don't know if there's any actually credible witnesses who saw any of that.
But that's all right.
There's something else in here as well about how apparently they can use canals and stuff to go from one place to another, so they can appear in one place much quicker than they would normally. So it would take hours rather than days to get from Virginia to Philadelphia or whatever.
That's about it.
That's kind of it. Yeah, it's really not a lot of. I was a bit disappointed. Really, I thought that there'd be more. More substance to the thing. I mean, because you've got, on the face of it, you've got a lot of kind of like witness evidence and all the rest of it. But actually, it's all just based on one person who's of dubious provenance, claiming all these things. I mean, one of the things as well, because you're talking about is sort of why the ufologists jump on it. One of the theories as well about why it's become so widespread and kind of popular is the whole imagery about people becoming fused into the ship. Quite horrific. Yeah. I mean, it's become a bit more of a staple of cheesy sci-fi now. But
it's an original idea.
Presumably this was the original kind of source of that. Because at the time it was, that's quite original and quite horrific. So that makes it stick in people's heads, and it's another one of those things that gives it that little twist.
A good idea is a good idea, Neil.
Yeah, fair play. Well, I think
boring system time.
Carl Allen should have written a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
Or started a religion.
Well, I mean, they're not mutually exclusive.
You're not, well, as we know, yeah.
Okay, Neil. So let's go through our scoring system. So let me know what you think of its spookiness.
I think that it's quite high on the spooky trail here. So there's a few different elements. It's, it's that idea that you may be using some technology that you don't fully understand, and it all goes horrifically wrong. And then, I mean, especially around that time as well, you've probably got a lot of people who are worrying about the kind of the experiments going on with nuclear weapons and things like this. So it's, at the forefront of technology that we barely understand and has ramifications that people just, in the pursuit of some kind of weapon, maybe don't fully understand. So, but then in a very visceral way where people have been sort of killed by getting melded into the ship and, be a pretty horrific way to die. So, I think it's got quite a high spookiness rating for me. So I'm going to give it an 8.
8, okay. Yeah, so I agree. It's kind of, during that time, technology was moving quite fast, and obviously stuff like the nuclear experiments, they're kind of, because they got all the right people in the right room and funded it, they kind of got that done very quickly, and it was something which was an incredibly difficult thing to do. So you can see why you would think that the impossible may be possible with enough kind of will, and that was kind of what was happening during the war. And people dying during the experiment because they weren't necessarily doing their proper health and safety checks, I guess. But
would you like to wander the floors when we're putting on the invisibility fields? Would you listen?
Why were you leaning against that wall? I told you not to.
Now you're fused into the galley.
But Admiral, why don't we just do it without any people on the ship? Shut up. Right, so I'm going to give it a 6 for spookiness. So, believability. Well, there's nothing inherently supernatural about it, so that's good.
It does rely on alien technology.
Apart from the alien technology.
Yeah.
Aliens aren't supernatural, they're natural as you and I. Just ask Aykroyd.
If you cut us, do we not bleed?
Bleed acid.
You acid. Yeah. Type of bleeding, isn't it?
So, and, there were definitely experiments and stuff going on, and, kind of in a pseudoscience way, it kind of claims to have some physics around it. Did they break laws of physics? No, I don't think that happened. It's not the most unbelievable thing that I've heard, so I'm going to give it a 7 nil. How about you?
It's a mixed one for me because, as you say, there's not anything that is massively unbelievable, and it's one where, the alien technology is the bit that you could have told all of this story without the whole reliance on alien technology, which would take it up a mark for me, because then you're adding in an extra layer of kind of like, Occam's razor. You just want to, you're just adding an extra layer of potential doubt and kind of like things that may, but obviously I see why that attracts some people. But but having said that, a lot of the things here, it's not about whether or not we believe they happened. It's kind of, are they inherently, will people start to believe in them? And it's not like one where it's just a campfire tale, it isn't true. There's a lot of people who have invested a lot of time into investigating these things. It's dubious because obviously it doesn't come from a credible source, but they've had enough imagination and put enough little facts and things in there that they've made it sort of sound credible, and it's, convinced a lot of people. In fact, people are still going on about it and tied it into some other mystery that's, it's the same level of no facts, I imagine. So, yeah, given how many people buy into it, I'm going to give it a 7.
So, Neil, narrative premise.
I think it's not a bad one here, actually. So you've got a war movie, you've got a sci-fi movie, you've got Albert Einstein.
Oh.
Tesla gets involved in some bits. Yeah. Like the tellings of the tale. I think it's got quite a rich narrative premise, actually. You could do a fair bit with this. I'm quite surprised. I'd be interested to see what this film is like. Apparently it's not much cop, but I think you could do quite a good story out of this. Unfortunately, I've only ever seen the Red Alert 2 version of which wasn't my best Howard thing. But yeah, I think it's going to be another quite high one for me here. So I'm going to give it I'll give it another 8.
Another 8. I think it's got a decent narrative premise. It's original, so that's a good one. And the people kind of fusing with the ship and it turning into a kind of Nightrider thing. That's good. It's first kind of telling of that.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't. Before this, I don't think you got a lot of sort of teleportation stuff. It was pre Star Trek, the original series. So
probably something in H.G. Wells, something like that, maybe. I don't think time travel. I don't know about teleportation. Yeah,
but it wasn't mainstream like it is now. So what makes it high for me is there's a lot of firsts or nearly firsts in this story. It's got like a cast of famous characters and alien shit and the war and everything. So I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
Nice.
So reach. Well, it's got a big reach. You've heard of it. That's always a sign that it's got good reach. It's got loads of films. It's been in computer games. It's been lots of books about it. I've seen it on History Channel documentaries.
Discovery website. Presumably Discovery Channel's done many documentaries about it.
Exactly.
Although the same thing, the Discovery Channel and the History Channel, are they two?
I think History Channel's owned by the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it's got very good reach. It kind of ticks most of the boxes. So I'm going to give it an 8 for reach now.
Yeah, so kind of similar conclusion for similar reasons for me, to be honest with you. The fact that it's not only spawned a cheaty film in the 80s, but then got a sequel in the 90s with Malcolm McDowell, no less. So you're not talking straight to video nonsense here, people. Well, maybe you are, but it's got Malcolm McDowell in it. It's going to be an 8 for me as well. Okay,
and that gives us an overall score, very high, of 60, which is a massive, massive score, considering...
I think it hits quite highly on all fronts, actually.
It does, considering it's so thin. It's actually done, it's done very well for itself. It's pulled itself up by its bootstraps.
So this is an interesting one where it's one person's basically come up with this and managed to push it out there. But given it quite a lot of substance, whereas usually, it'll be sort of these things take on a life of their own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's kind of one man's vision, isn't it, really, the whole thing?
Carl Allen should have been an author.
Well, if he'd been an author, would he have got as famous as he has by doing this? Probably not, depending on the quality of the book. But, he's done pretty well out of this. So, if you're a kind of creative person, then you want to be remembered, and he certainly will be, I think.
Start an insane
pamphlet, why not?
Yeah.
Right, well, on that note...
Inspiration for us all.
Exactly. Well, that's it. That's the end of episode 1 of the new series, and we'll be back, as always, regularly on Thursdays.
The new cyber series?
Your new cyber series, which we're sending back from the future. So...
we are actually, funnily enough, transmitting via unified field theory, but we can't disclose the details of that.
Can't talk about it. But we all learn it in school here. But
believe you and me, being fused to a bulkhead would be like a fucking picnic compared to what happened if you get this wrong.
Compared to the stuff you fused to me for my sex work. So that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and take care, and we'll see you next Thursday. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Antennae. Server. USB. Wi-Fi. Chip and pin. Milligrid.